I had the most incredible experience last night. I went to see Tool play a show in an arena, and it was transcendental. Music is life anyway, music is so important to me. But last night's experience was something else altogether, and it made me realize how disconnected we are in 2024 with our technology. We went in, the first thing that happened was they said, do not take any photos, do not take any videos, put your phone in your pocket. And they said this key sentence: if you can't keep your phone in your pocket for 2 hours, you have a problem. And I felt so connected to that. And I celebrated and I was so happy. And I did not expect the however many thousands of people that were there to actually do it. And they did. We had 2 hours of the most immersive musical experience that I have ever experienced. Now, I've been in the music industry in some capacity since I was 16, 17 years old. I'm 44 years old now. That's a lot of music that I've seen. That's a lot of experiences that I've had. And in my world as a photographer, in my past life as a creative, I have been to so many visual shows. This was an audio visual experience like no other experience. It was as trippy as a sound bath. If you've ever done a sound meditation where you lay down and someone who is exceptionally good at their craft plays music around you, gongs and things like that, to take you on this transcendental journey. And you expect it, right? You go in with blankets, you lay down on a mat, everyone's there for the same thing. I did not expect that last night. I felt like I was tripping balls. I was not. Okay, so after maybe an hour and 20 minutes of the show, my friend and I, who had gone together, left to go use the toilet. And then we both confided in each other at the same time that actually one of the reasons that we had needed to get up out of our seats and leave at that minute was because we needed to check in with ourselves. We needed to check that we were feeling okay, because the experience was so intense, so powerful, that we both felt like we were tripping. We both felt like our brains were not quite working properly. Now, both me and my friend that went last night have brain injuries. We went back into the show and we carried on for the rest of the experience, because it wasn't even just a show. This was a full body, full mind experience. And the only time you knew that the arena was full was when the lighting allowed you to see the seats. And it was almost a shock to the system to see, holy smoke, every single seat in this show is taken. But you had no idea, because there was no lights, there was no phones, there was no talking. Because of the way they constructed this experience, almost everyone en masse, together, collectively, sat. We barely even moved. We barely sang along. We barely danced. We just sat in a trance, completely connected with the music and the visuals. And it was a very personal, very intimate experience between each individual human being and the band, and the experience that they had crafted for us. And it was phenomenal. It's changed me on a cellular level. That's not too extreme of a thing to say. I'm not even entirely sure I have the words to explain it now. But today I got up, I had my coaching session, and I've had a coaching session with someone else. And I've just been allowing this experience to sort of trickle over at the back of my mind. And it's made me realize how crazy it is that we are so connected to our phones. We are expected to reply to people immediately. And I talk about this in other videos. I already have a strong feeling about this, but the experience that I had last night made me, it gave me a whole new understanding of this situation that we're in. So for the last song of the show last night, they said, you know what, you guys have been great, no one's had their phones out. For this last song, you can film, do what you want, go wild. And it was awful. It was awful. It was, everything that we had experienced was broken. There was no connection anymore. There was no trance state anymore. You were completely distracted by all these lights going off. Everyone was distracted by what they could see on their screen or what they couldn't see on their screen or what they could see on someone else's screen, whether the video was right. Everybody's attention left this collective experience, this transcendental experience that we were having together. And it was just broken by the digital aspect, the digital connection that people then made. People were then more connected to their devices than the experience that we were having. And it has jarred me completely. You know, when I was growing up, if you wanted to speak to your friend, you would ring the landline of the house that they lived in. Their parent would answer. If they were out, you didn't get to speak to them. You would relay a message to their parent. Their parent would just simply remember what they could remember when the child came home, when your friend came home. They would relay what they remembered of the message if they remembered it. And if your friend did not call you back, you didn't even think about it. Like, there was no thought process for that. Unless you were calling somebody because it was an emergency, there was zero expectation for them to call you back. There was simply the notification that you had called on them and they hadn't been there. The next time you saw them, you might have a conversation. Oh, did your mum let you know that I called? Yeah, she did. Yeah, cool. The end. That's it. No expectation, no drama, none of this 24/7 extreme need to reply immediately. It just did not exist. And for the young people growing up in today's world, I worry, and I realize this makes me sound like an old person, but genuinely, that expectation is going to, is already creating mental health problems where people are posting videos asking for help because they feel overwhelmed by this plethora of messages that they have, trying to get back to all of the messages, all of the messenger messages, the Snapchats, the WhatsApps, the messages, the emails, the notifications on social media. It's too much. It's not normal. We as a species have been around for an extremely long time, and we have only had this insane expectation to be available 24/7 for maybe 20 years, which is a blink of an eye in our existence. It's not even that. And something needs to change because we have not evolved to deal with that necessity, that demand on our time, on our brain, on our emotional state. Our brains have not developed, and the way our brains develop, it takes a very, very long time. It's going to be a long time before, as human beings, as a species, we feel ready and able to keep up with that level of demand and still retain our mental health. This has made me even more certain that more than anything else, we need to take time away from our phones to disconnect from that digital demand. The digital demand, we are not able to process it. For people that are out there looking for ways to deal with it, what's wrong with them, they're looking for answers as to why they feel overwhelmed by all this. There is nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. Your mental health is at stake because you are putting a demand on your brain, on your emotional capacity, and your mental health that we are not designed to deal with. We are not equipped for this. We will not be equipped for this for a very, very long time. It's okay to disconnect. And by disconnecting, you will connect on a much more intimate level with what's actually happening around you. And as human beings, that's what we can cope with. That is what we are designed for. We are designed to be on call to the people that we are currently spending our time with. And if that is zero people, then that's zero demand. And if we are putting ourselves into a situation where we're with a group of friends or we're with family or we're at work, that's where our focus should be. This digital demand has got to stop. Yeah, I'm giving you full permission to disconnect from your phone. Now, whether you are as passionate about music as I am or not is irrelevant. The story is about connection. It's not even about music. It's about connection to yourself and connection to the experience that you're having and the experience that everyone else around you is having, and the experience that everyone else around you is having. And if you're watching this and you're still here at the end of this video, I am here to give you complete and total permission to encourage you to please have several hours of every day at a minimum where you are not connected to your phone. Please, let's start teaching each other that to have the boundary of not reply. Let's start teaching each other that to have that boundary of not replying straight away should be normal. That should be the normal state of things. If there's an emergency, there are different demands on our thoughts, on our emotions, different expectations. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this absolute categoric demand to reply immediately. Please do your part for the human species, for your mental health, for the collective mental health of us as people, and step away from that expectation. It's not normal. It's never going to be normal. And it's absolutely okay to just connect with yourself and with what is happening around you.